So I'm a little extra excited about this project simply because I kind of just wanted to test a theory based on observation. And that observation is, well, moms, for Mother's Day, well, what do you get them? And just, again, based on observation, I've seen that, well, my mom and my girlfriend's mom, they love getting pictures of kids and grandkids. And I had this idea for this project here, and I mentioned it to Ron, and he was able to design a really cool paper sculpture that you can use to display your family photos. Well, so you can put pictures of your mom's kids. You can even do grandkids, I think, if you want. It all depends on really what caption you put in the center of the paper sculpture. We've provided you with one that says, "We love you, Mom," but you can easily, with your own font, change it to Grandma or whatever you want, Grandpa, whatever you want to change it to. And you're welcome to include whatever pictures you want. It's up to you. You can include grandkids, you can include just, her biological kids. The possibilities are endless, not to sound cliche, but they really are. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to shape some flowers. It's very simple, and there's two different styles of flowers. And when we get more into this project, I'll kind of show you what else you can do with it to kind of customize it. But let's tackle the flowers first. So I just want to kind of go over what we have here. One set of flowers is going to be made up of, well, there's 6 flowers total. So we have 3 of the same size of this piece here, and then 3 of the same design, but slightly smaller, and they're gonna go like this, okay? So that's 3 flowers there, and then the interiors for these are gonna be the ones that are a little more round as far as the scallops go. So they're gonna be like that, okay? And then your other set of flowers, same concept. There's 3 of these that are larger, and 3 of these that are smaller, and those are going to go inside like so. And then obviously whatever's left over as far as the inner rings, these, they're kind of scalloped but just not as round. Those are going to go in the center like that, okay? Each one of these is going to have a photo. Now you're probably saying, well, my mom doesn't have 6 kids. Well, we thought that through and we created these little plugs. So there's a total of 6 plugs. And these are flowers that go inside of these areas here, should you need to fill them in because you don't have enough children or enough photos. Now, who's to say that you can't, use more than one photo of each child? You could do group photos. You could do 3 different photos of one child, 3 different photos of another child. But in case you don't want to do that, we have these little plugs that you can put inside to take the place of a photo, okay? And these plugs, so you understand this concept here. One plug is made up of these. So each plug is going to get one of these, and then a smaller one of a slightly different shade. Okay, so that's this flower. And then the other plugs are going to use this. There's 3 of these, and then 3 of the smaller ones. They're going to go inside like this. Okay, and each one has a little center as well. This one has the more scalloped center, okay? And then this one has the less scalloped center, just like this. And obviously, these are gonna go, well, these orange ones are gonna go with that flower, okay? And yeah, so you'll see once we get it all done. But anyway, let me reorganize this so we can start showing you how the flowers go together. It's maybe a little confusing right now, but trust me, it's really not that bad once we kind of get into the flow here. So let's work on the main flowers first. We'll focus on the plugs last. Let me get these out of the way, and we'll start on, we'll just show you one of these, okay? And really all we're doing with every single one of these is just curling these petals up, okay, just to kind of give them some dimension. So you could take and just pinch the petal between your finger and your dowel and literally just curl it up just to kind of give it a little bit of life. So it's going to be repetitive. There's going to be a lot of these to do, but it's a very simple pinch and curl, just like that. Okay, that's it. And then with this one here, same thing. I'm using a pretty thick dowel here so I don't end up creasing these. I want it to look nice and smooth. Okay, just like that. And we're literally just going to stagger these so that they're, well, staggered, so that they're, you don't want to glue them like this. That's kind of pointless. You want to stagger them so that you get as many petals as you can get per flower, okay? So what we're going to do is just put a little bit of glue right around the inside ring here. You don't need to put glue anywhere else, just around the inside ring. Okay, just make sure that you get it nice and staggered. I'm going to put that down. Pardon my head here, if my head's in the way. Just make sure you line it up with the little inner circle there. Okay, just like that. If it's a slightly bit off, no one's going to notice. Just like that. Okay, there we go. And then later on, once we get these into their final position, we can always kind of fluff up the flowers ever so slightly. And then each one of these is going to get one of these little scalloped centers, okay, just to kind of finish it off, make it look nice. So we'll get our glue on this little interior piece and just match that up. You can see that there is a shadow layer for each of the little scallop sections there. So you just need to match those up and also make sure that it's nice and lined up with the center as well. And there you have it. There's your first flower for your first photo. And you can see how cute that's going to look once you have it all said and done. Okay, so there's our first flower. So this process that I just did with this flower, you're going to repeat that 2 more times with these here. You're going to end up with 3 of these. Okay, so I'm going to put that off to the side for now. And we can move on to the next flower. And literally, it's the same process. I'm just going to, since there's 2 little butts here, or 1 butt, 2 cheeks, I'm going to just grab both of the little cheeks with my fingers and just curl it around the dowel, just to kind of give it a little bit of life. And you're going to do that all the way around, just to kind of train these petals and give them some dimension so they're not just laying there flat. And they'll hold. They'll hold for a long, long time. I have projects that I've trained years ago that are holding up. Okay, so now for the interior of this, remember, you got to grab one of the smaller pieces. You don't want the one that's the same exact size. You want to find the one that's just a little bit smaller than the outer petals. Okay, and same thing. Just wrap those around the dowel. If you want to create more dimension, use a thinner dowel and wrap it even more. You can see how much more that one stands up. And you may just want to do that for the inner layer, just to kind of create even more separation between the top and bottom petals. Okay, that's totally an artistic decision, up to you. Now you'll notice when I use the smaller one, it kind of creases it more. I'm not a big fan of the creasing. I like things to just look very clean. And then we're going to put a little bit of glue just on the ring part. And again, you want to stagger this so that the petals are not on top of each other. You want to create as much dimension as you can between the 2 layers. Make sure that the circle part in the center is all lined up nicely. If you're off by a smidge, it's not the end of the world. And then again, once this is all glued and set, we can certainly pull these out more and create more separation between these layers to give this even more dimension. Okay, now once we have that in place, We're going to take this little section here, and you can see that between the petals here, there's a little valley, and that's where this is going to fit. This little valley here on the scalloped little center is going to fit right into that valley on the actual petals. Okay, so get your glue on this piece, match up one of the little valley sections there, make sure that you've got it nice and centered, and just lay that right into place like so. Okay, and as I'm doing this, the petals are kind of flattening out. I would wait to really fluff all this stuff up until we've got everything pretty much assembled. Okay, so this is flower B. I'm calling it flower B. This is the second flower, second style. And you're gonna do this 2 more times with the remaining pieces here. So you're gonna have 3 of these, and you're gonna have 3 of these, okay? Okay, so as you can see here, we've got 3 of flower A, or the first flower, and then 3 of this flower all done. Now, we're gonna put our plugs together, okay? And first plug is made up of these 2 pieces and this little centerpiece, and it's really no different than the process is really not any different than what we did with the first layer of flowers. We're just going to take each of the petals and curl them in like so, just to kind of raise them up and give them a little bit of dimension, just like that. Okay. And then we'll take the smaller layer, do the same thing. Okay. Okay, and then we'll simply take the smaller layer and glue it inside of the larger layer. And of course, you want to offset or stagger the petals so that they're not competing with each other. Try to get it as centered as you can. Just like that. And then again, once we get this all in place, we can kind of fluff these up a little bit and kind of create a little more separation with these. And again, these are the pieces that we're going to use in places where we don't have any photos. Okay, if you don't want to have any gaps or any empty spots, you can do that. And we're going to take this green piece, the one that is less round as far as the scallops go. You can see this one is a lot more round. That one is less round. Okay, and that is one of the plugs. We're going to make 3 of these if you're not including any photos. If you're just making this as a sculpture with just photos, you're going to make 3 of these. And you can see here, I've got 3 of them. Okay, so again, if they're all photos, you don't need any plugs. Okay, you can make a couple and put them in your drawer. And if someone's being bad and you want to hide their face, you can just temporarily put a plug up there and be like, you're no longer part of this sculpture, as a joke, I guess. But again, so by default, you are not going to actually cut any of these out. If you do need some plugs, you'll need to cut them out by uploading them into your software from the extras folder. They'll be in a folder under extras called plugs, okay? And you'll need to cut out as many as you want in the colors that you need them. So if, for example, if you want to plug up this flower, you're gonna wanna get one of these plugs, okay? And you see how beautiful that looks once it's covered up, okay? And if you're doing this flower, then you obviously want to cover it up with this plug. And you'll cut out as many plugs as you need based on how many photos you're planning on displaying. Okay, so showed you how to make this plug. Now, as far as the other plug goes, again, nothing really different here. Just curling the petals. You can do it that way, or you can just kind of run the dowel through. You'll notice that if I do it this way, it kind of makes it curl in a lot more, makes it stand up a lot more. So I'm kind of liking that because it does add more dimension. Okay. And there we go. Okay, and then what we'll do is just take and glue that to the inside. Very simple. And of course, again, you want to offset this. Get it nice and centered and offset so the petals are not competing. There we go. And each of these, each of the this style of flower is going to get one of these green centers where the scallops are nice and round. And get that nice and centered right in the middle there. And there we go. Okay, so again, just to recap, you will need 3 of the full flowers with the holes in the center of that color, 3 of these, and then depending on whether or not, let me just show you real quick. So let's say you are including 6 photos, or if you're doing 6 photos, then obviously you don't need any plugs. But if you're only doing 3 photos, then obviously you're going to want to plug those up so that you don't just have holes there with the little plugs. Okay, so the combinations for this are, well, not limitless because you've only got 6 slots, but they are very versatile. Okay, so we've got all our flowers and all of our plugs ready to go. And now I'm just going to put these all off to the side, and we're going to put together the actual sculpture here. Okay, so this is pretty easy. There's a lot of real estate here, a lot of area to cover. So I think the best way to do this would be maybe in little segments. We need to take these 2 pieces and glue them together just to make it a little more sturdy. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by just kind of gluing half of it to itself. Well, not to itself, to its counterpart here. And we'll just go from there. And then we'll just kind of raise it up halfway and do the other half. So I'm just going to go about halfway, right about there, and then just do a few little thin lines of glue along the veins here. You got to work kind of quick because there's a lot of surface area to cover, and you could probably do some little dots there. This is going to be suspended kind of with, well, not in midair, but with, what's it called? They're the foam squares. So even if you get a little sloppy with the glue, it's not going to end up on anything. So don't worry about being totally perfect with this. But all we need to do is just line this up with the other piece. Okay, just make sure you get that nice and aligned. We'll lift this up. That's perfect. There we go, and just press down in the areas where we have our glue. Looks like the bottom part is already pretty much snapped in place. Okay, just like that. And then, just to make it easier, because that glue is going to dry real quick, just lift it up and get your glue on the rest of this here. Just work these areas. And then maybe just a few little dots here and there on the veins, just so that doesn't come pulling apart. And before you know it, we'll have this all in place. And there we go. And just pop that into place, press down, so that'll make it nice and sturdy. Okay. Nice and thick, nice and sturdy. There we go. Now we have this layer here, and you can see how that's going to go on. It's going to create a nice contrast, and I think we're going to do the same thing with this, where we just kind of do half at a time instead of trying to get it all in one shot and messing it up. I don't want to do that. And actually, it's going to be like this, or is it? Yeah. That's about right. Okay, so we'll start about halfway. I'm going to just go ahead and get my glue onto all of these little outer sections first, and then I'll work the little vines, or veins of the leaves, I should say. And I think I'm just going to do this leaf completely, because that's just going to be easier. Whoops. Should probably move that out of the way for a second. And if you have a spray adhesive, I find that sometimes for large areas like this, a spray adhesive is very helpful because you can cover pretty much the entire thing. I just don't like to use it in my studio because it gives me headaches, and I just don't like how I feel when I have a headache. You'd have to be pretty weird and sadistic to enjoy having a headache. So let's just place that right in place. You can see exactly where it needs to go based on the cutouts from the previous layers. Okay, just get that in place, press that down. And if we have some little areas that maybe aren't sitting as flush as we'd like, can always go in and just kind of paint some extra glue in those areas using our little scrap paper method. And I'll show you that here in a second, because you gotta be really good to get this all glued down in one fell swoop. A lot of little areas, a lot of little details. And see, that's down pretty good. See, this one here is kind of lifting up. Just take a little, just throw your bottle at something. Just take a little glue onto the end of the scrap piece of paper and just paint it underneath. Just kind of feel for any little areas that might be lifting up, and just slide a little bit of glue under there. Press that down. This little area here needs a little extra love. There you go. Just like that. Very simple. And now we can peel this back, and I'm actually going to do it this way. It's easier to kind of determine where the glue needs to go for it to stick. I'll do some dots along the little veins here in the outer part of the leaf. This thing's going to be in a shadow box. No one's really going to be messing with it and holding it too much. As long as you get enough glue in the majority of this thing, it ain't going nowhere. Not worried about it. There we go. And the rest of it should just fall into place since it's already anchored on the other side. And there we go. Okay, so that's that. And then all that's really left to do now is get our little photos in place. Okay. So it's up to you how you want to arrange the photos. Where are my other photos? There they are. I'm missing one. Nope, there they are. Okay. Oh, by the way, I just want to show you something real quick here. Your download comes with this little template. Okay, if you're comfortable, we've included two templates. One that is the actual exact size that you need. So one template is just this little circle. Okay, and the other template is for those of you that can't really do a print and cut. You'll get this template that looks like this. You'll cut it out, leave it in place, and also make sure you don't move it in Design Space or whatever software you're using. Make sure it's in the same exact spot in your cutting software. What you'll do is you'll remove just the circle, okay? And then you take your photo. You can have a full-size photo. I don't actually have a full-size photo with me, so I'm going to have to improvise and use something else. I will use a, let's see. I'll use this sketch. Okay, let's pretend that this is a 5x7 photo or a 4x6. Without peeling this off of the mat, you want to kind of keep it in place. What you're going to do is lift up one edge of it and kind of keep it in place, and then kind of position the photo into where you want it to cut. So it may help to kind of trim. I'm going to trim this a little bit. Just trim around the face. Obviously you don't need all the extra stuff around there, and just kind of position it where you want it. Okay, and then put it on your mat. Then you can remove this And as long as this piece in your software is in the same exact spot and you run this through again, it'll cut that circle right there. It's also going to cut this, but that's okay. You're interested in what's here. And then you'll lift it up, and as you can see, that's the exact size that you need. So hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, we may need to make a video on that, but it's a pretty straightforward process. Okay, so anyway, at this point, we're going to put our photos in place, and I'm going to do it from the oldest to the youngest. So I'm going to put this teenage girl up at the top here. And what you want to do is you want to align the photo with the circles here. Okay, it gets a little weird over here, but as long as you align it with the circle, make sure that it's nice and aligned, and press that down. Okay, and yeah, she's going to get one of these. Okay, so you see how that's going to work. Okay, and then we'll do next in line here, this handsome young man. And what you'll notice here is that you want to line it up with the circle portion here and here. This little part here, that's part of the little vein. So don't try to line it up there. Make sure it's flush with the inside and the outside towards the bottom. Okay, that's how you know that you've got it nice and in place. So let's get our glue on this young man. Here we go. Make sure it's nice and flush. Okay, and then we're going to go with this lovely little darling here. And she's going to go here, just lining it up with the bottom section of the little shadow of the circle that's there. Okay. And then we'll move our way down. I think this boy looks a little bit older. These are just stock photos that I found because I don't know anyone with 6 kids, and I wanted to be able to demonstrate this with all 6. Okay, so with this one here, you want to align it with the edge of the circle here and here. Don't worry about the semicircle here. Okay, so you want to get it aligned up with this one and with this one. And now we're going to put him over here. Okay, we're going to line that up with, I think it's definitely that one and this one here. So it's towards the top here. I'm going to leave that little border there. Okay. And then our little baby is going to go to the bottom. Hey, baby. I was trying to find a brown-eyed baby, but I realized that I think all babies have blue eyes because most of these people in this family have brown eyes. There we go. Okay. So that is the beginning of our little frame there. And now it's just a matter of putting our flowers in place. And all we're going to do is just put a little bit of glue around the inner ring here, and then we're going to pop that one right there. Okay. And we're going to stagger these. Okay. And they're going to compete a little bit for room, but that's okay because we're going to end up fluffing these up and well, training them to get them to stand up a little bit more. So just a nice little ring of glue around the perimeter. Now I'm gluing this to a photo, so we may need to be a little bit more patient with, well, just need to be more patient. Wait for this thing to really set. Just frame that nicely. Press that down. There we go. That's cute. Okay. And flare these up a little bit. Okay. And just going to work our way down the row here. And this one's going to go here. That's cute. So we're just kind of alternating the flowers. Now, what I just realized is if you wanted to, you could cut, you could cut 6 of these and make it like more autumn, give it more of an autumn feel, or you could cut this one out 6 times and kind of make it more springy. It's up to you. We're just doing it this way so that you can make it how we have it designed. That's cute. Okay, now we're moving on to this one here. That one's going there, I think. Yeah. Nice thin line of glue right around the inner perimeter. And I'm going to keep the petals like that. That looks good. Press that down into place, like so. There we go. And I'll grab this one for our little baby. Hello, baby. It's cute. So you get the idea here. I don't think you really need to watch me do this, but I just want to make sure that I'm thorough, as we usually are with our videos. And kind of nudge that petal out of the way a little bit. Get that nice and centered around our baby's head. Yep, that's right. You can pop that under. And they're overlapping a little bit. That's nice. Okay, I'll take a look at this from the back here. Yep, looking good. Okay, and we'll grab this almost looks like a little sunflower. Kind of like that one. I could see this being done up for fall too. Okay, that one's going there, just like that. Yeah, maybe adjust that a little bit. There we go. Okay. There we go. I like that leaf there. Tuck that under, grab that one, bring it up. Okay, and one more. So you get the idea here. This is kind of fun. A very personalized, personal sort of project. A personalized personal project. There you go. Does that make sense? I think I'm starting to understand why you guys think I'm funny. I don't think it's funny. I think I'm just kind of an idiot sometimes. Okay. And there we go. So we'll tuck that underneath. Let that one kind of take over here like that. There we go. Okay, that looks great. And that's that. So all that's left to do now is we need to put some foam squares on this thing. So we'll flip her over. And I should have kept my large ones for this project. But all we're going to do is I'm going to put some foam squares. I'm going to start off on the corners. Rotate that. We'll go here. This is going to be pretty easy to foam square because there's tons of room here to put these little foam squares without having to worry about them showing through. Put that one there. We'll do one here. And we'll do one here. Let's see how that's sitting. It's pretty darn good. Let's see if I have some more here. Yeah. Well, I've got these smaller ones. I didn't want to have to use them, but it's okay. But you get the idea. You want to just put your foam squares on here just to kind of keep this thing from sagging in various spots. Just look for little areas where you think it might kind of droop a little bit, just to kind of keep everything nice and elevated and consistent. Okay, get the idea. I think that's plenty. No, I don't. That's probably good. All right, so actually before we do this, last piece of the puzzle here. This is a full 12 by 12 sheet of paper, and your download is going to come with this little piece here. And what we're doing with this is, I'm going to grab a pencil, is we're going to take this and put it all the way up to the corner, very corner, and we're just going to mark the very inside corner. I just see a little dot there. You can create like a little L shape. These are basically like little registration marks for those of you that use a Cricut or a Silhouette. It's kind of like a little visual guide to help you position this center on your 12 by 12 sheet of paper. So I'm just going to do all four corners here just to make sure that I get it right. And it's going to help me place this other piece dead center on this guy here. All right, so let's pull all the backings off of these and let's finish this up. There's really not much left to do. I'm going to add some pearls in the centers of the flowers. Oh, and then we can discuss the little plugs. Now, obviously, because I'm using all 6 photos, I have no plugs to use. But if you're just doing 2 photos, you're going to want to incorporate 4 plugs. If you're using just 3 photos, you're going to want to incorporate 3 plugs, and so on and so forth. And if you're not including photos, if you're just doing this for the actual flowers, then you're going to incorporate all 6 plugs. Okay, let me go around and make sure that I got all the backings off. Cool. All right, I need to stand up, and you may see my head here for a second, but that's just because this needs to be pretty spot on. Otherwise, it's not going to look good in the video and the photos. And so I'm just lining it up with the little marks that I created using that little stencil, or that little L-shaped thingamajig. Okay, so just get that lined up with the little marks there. Make sure it's centered on your 12 by 12 piece of paper. And again, if you don't have photos in some of these areas, you can just take a little bit of glue and just glue that down and plug up those little areas that you don't need the photos in. Okay, so the combinations for this are very versatile. And say you're just doing these 2, then you can just cover up the rest of these. Okay, so however you want to do it, with however many plugs you need. Since I need to demonstrate it, I'm showing you that you can do it with 6 photos. So again, I still need to add some little pearls and such, but I want to show you what this looks like inside of the shadow box. And then we're going to discuss one more little thing here. Let me throw this in here. There we go, look at that. Ain't she a beauty? Okay, now we've also included a beautiful little caption. And I cut this out of white vinyl. Actually, this is window cling. I don't want to false advertise here. This is not vinyl, it's window cling, but same difference. This is just less permanent. Okay, and I'm gonna make sure that I get this, pardon my head here, but you can see how beautiful this is gonna look once we get it all into place. Hopefully I did that right. There you go. Just add a little vinyl caption, "We love you, Mom," and you've got a keepsake, personalized keepsake that is just gorgeous. So there you go. And that pretty much does it for this project. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm in love with this project. I think it's great. And I have a feeling I'm going to be making a couple of these at least. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please take a moment and hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Also, while you're there, make sure you hit that little bell notification so that you get notifications anytime we release a new tutorial, a new freebie, or any of our educational videos. And if you make this or anything from our new bundle, we'd love to see it. So head on over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Group, where you can join myself and the almost 20,000 dreamers that inspire us daily. Or you can use the little link that you see here at the bottom. But I got a feeling that this one is going to be very popular. So get your photos, get your vinyl, and make something for Mom that she will really, really, really love this Mother's Day. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to crafting with you again.